All right, so recording is started, and let me there we go. So I'm Robert Shankin, and I've been teaching math for quite a long time, 30 years now. I taught for my first 10 years at University of Houston downtown, and I've been here at Santa Fe Community College for 20 years. And I really enjoy teaching math, and I really enjoy learning new ways to teach math. And all right, let's go to Discord. Let me just show you a little bit about what we're going to do in Discord. First of all, the instructions I gave you were to put your first and your last name as your username. And some of you probably already were in Discord and had other usernames already. To change your username, you go to the main chat screen, which is in the center of the screen at the bottom. Type in /NICK, and then that's to change your nickname. And then, so if I type in now Robert Shankin, and then hit enter, then my nickname has been changed on this server. So it'll stay changed, and that'll be your new username. So if your username isn't your first and last name, please change it now, like I did, so that we can identify who you are each time. And all right, so on Discord, it's a nice, simple tool, and it rarely goes wrong, and so it'll be really nice. I want to just show you when you want to put things in. Suppose you've copied something from a different application using like Control-C, the copy command. You can come in here and then hit the paste, Control-V, and it'll show up in your text line here. You could also hit this plus sign that's right next to here. If I hit the plus sign, it says, you know, what file do I want to bring up? And so if I want to go to this class, college algebra, and I want to put the schedule. So here's the schedule, and I can add a comment, schedule, and then I say upload, and then there it is. You can click on that, anybody click on that, and then this Word document will get downloaded for you. So when you're communicating with your classmates as well, there'll be times when you may want to upload something to them. It's real easy in Discord here. You saw that you went to the voice channel, clicked on my name when I was live streaming, and then joined the live stream. Now if you join another voice channel, it'll kick you out of this one. You can only be in one voice channel at a time in Discord. And let me go to the here, the Canvas homepage here, and if you go to simple syllabus, simple syllabus will give you the syllabus. You know, days gone by you'd get a printout of the syllabus, which is kind of a contract between you and your instructor, how you're going to be graded, how things are going to work in this class. So all the basic information is listed here, contact information and everything for me. And the textbook in here. So the textbook here is free. It's from what's called OpenStax, and you can see what it looks like, Algebra and Trigonometry, this red book. To access this throughout the semester, you would go to, let me just show you, you just type in openstax.org and hit enter. Okay, so this is all their textbooks, so you got to pick the right subject. Go to subjects, math, okay, and then I scroll down a little bit, and then I see this red one that we were just looking at, Algebra and Trigonometry. And click on that. And then, alright, you can view it online, download a PDF. You can do the view online, that's fine. I tend to prefer download a PDF. I click on this. It doesn't take a long time, it just downloads very quickly. You'll see within 10 or 15 seconds. Textbook viewable, and then you can pick your page number that you want to view. So if I pick page 400, this is one of the quirks of the software. I'm actually showing page 382 of the textbook. So there must have been like 18 pages in the preface or something that weren't numbered. And so you wind up getting used to this. You subtract 18 to see what page number you'll actually be viewing, and then you can kind of just go through here. Everything in the physical book is available here. And let me show you the physical book. It looks like this, and it's pretty thick, over 1,000 pages. We use the same book in college algebra and pre-calculus. So you might have that as a factor if you're deciding whether you want to buy a physical copy of the book. They're available online at Amazon for around $60. It's a non-profit that's doing this out of Rice University, supplying these books. That's why it's being, given to you at their cost. And questions. Let me go over into Discord. Any questions? All right. Also notice, and you all are good about this, I notice everybody's muted. On the bottom left-hand corner, there's a mute button. Click on that and you're muted, and you're going to be unclicking this when you want to talk, and then you'll mute yourself back up again, except when you're contributing and talking to the class. So everybody just pop in at the bottom of the center screen and just type hi or hello, and let's just see that the just getting a feel for who's all here. And is there anybody who's having any difficulties seeing my screen or hearing me? Okay. And all right. Let me go on show you some more of the course, the syllabus for the course. So let's come down to grading. All right. So the grading scale is a very typical one at this school, which is somewhere in the 90s you're getting some form of an A, in the 80s you're getting some form of a B, etc. All right. Now, how your course grade is calculated 35% of your grade comes from homework, 40% from homework, or from exams. The final exam is 15%. And then this one I want to point out at the bottom. Attendance participation is 10% of your grade. Now, what I've done is for that portion of your grade, you already have 100% for attendance participation. You're given 10 out of the 10 points right at the beginning. But you may have that adjusted downward during the semester. I want to be really clear about my expectations for this course. When I have participated myself, we have online trainings going on at the school. Like I'll get online and we have to do a diversity training. And I'm in a large group and I'm hearing somebody talk, and now and then I'm participating. I have a tendency to, as soon as I sit down at my computer for this online training, the first impulse that goes through me is, oh, I gotta go get a snack. And then I go get the snack, and as soon as I sit down, the second impulse is, oh, now I gotta go to the bathroom. And then what happens is I wind up distracting myself. And it's really, really easy to do. And so what my expectation here is, and so I've kind of learned as we've gone along here, is I need to make my expectations really clear to everybody and hold people accountable. It's when I'm held accountable, I perform better. I have all the features of getting away with things that my teenage sons have. And so I've learned to structure my policies and how I do things, because it's the kind of stuff that I myself need. All right, so what I'm going to be asking, and hang on just a second, I put something in the oven, I have to turn it off. All right. So, what I expect in this course from each student is you give it your full attention for the time that you're in our class, that you prepare beforehand, you prepare an uninterrupted environment. If you want a snack while you participate, that's fine, but you prepare that beforehand. You're not running away to be doing all these things. And I'm going to be, every single day will be interactive. I'll be shortly showing you who your group members are. You'll be put into groups. You'll have group activities you'll be doing in each class. And if you're not participating in these groups, suppose you've signed in, you've logged in, but then you're not doing anything, I will be marking you effectively absent, and that will affect your attendance participation grade. So that's what I expect, and so that's what you need to do in this class. Is, and if it requires talking with others in your house to say, hey, I've got this instructor that really expect my full attention here, and I'm going to need you, I have a sign put up on my, because I have a certain room, and I put up a little sign that's don't disturb, class is in session. If you need to do something like that, you are going to, determine what you need. Okay. And we're going to get into the first section today, and I'll be showing you and doing an actual lesson, but let me quickly go over some of the features in this class. The homework. All right. The objective is for every student to get 10 out of 10 for every homework problem, every homework set. Okay. And when I or my grader grades your homework and you have less than 100%. You can make corrections. You have 1 week and then get those back in so you can get your grade up to 10 out of a 10. If it's still incorrect, we'll give you the feedback again, and then you can still submit it. You have 1 week each time till you get them all correct. All right. It's really important that you're on time in this class. Late work. Your first late assignment earns full credit, but future late assignments will only earn 50% credit. So it's a sure way to shoot yourself in the foot is by getting behind and staying behind. Spot checks. All right. Now let me show you why we need spot checks. If I go back into Discord, I put in here the schedule. Click on this. Let's open it up. Here's our schedule. Today we're doing 3.1. Then we're going to do 3.2, 3.3, and then notice 3.1 and 3.2 aren't going to be turned in for a while. You turn in 3.1 and 3.2 way over here. Now, when I was a student myself, and I remember numerous math classes where all the homework was due at the end of the week. And what did I do? The night before it was due, I was up late doing all the homework. And I wasn't utilizing my time to really learn the material well in between. And it wasn't because I was necessarily a bad student either. It was more like I was conditioned to deadlines. And I was always looking, what's the next deadline? And that's where all my focus of attention went. And so how we have it structured is 3.1 we're going to do today. But the next time we meet, on Monday, what's due is the spot check of 3.1, which means you have to upload at least 75% of the homework problems for 3.1. And then on Monday we're going to cover 3.2, and then immediately the next day, always the next day, the spot check of that is due. What that does is that enables you to get the homework done right away and ask good questions. What typically happens is students will do most of the problems, and if you have trouble on it, it's not acceptable to say, oh, I didn't understand it, that's why I couldn't get 75%. You're going to have to avail yourself of whatever help you need, tutor, another student, myself, whatever, get some assistance so you can get up to 75% completed. You know, a lot of people do a lot of internet searches, YouTube, whatever. And then, but after they upload the spot check, they have some good questions to ask. And they watch me work some problems and realize, oh yeah, now I understand it better. Now I can do those tough ones. And then they go back and then they finish the assignment very completely. And then when it's due, that's when the same section, the same problems they did before, but now usually more completed, is uploaded again. And in the rare occasion that you uploaded the first time for the spot check and you understood everything and then you had no changes whatsoever, you don't need to upload again. Then you could just leave it blank for the upload of the 3.2 if your 3.2 spot check had everything that you wanted in there. So whenever myself or my grader is looking at a section, if we don't see anything uploaded for that, we'll look in the spot check and then we'll grade that. We'll assume that that's what you wanted me to look at and have graded. Any questions on how spot checks work? Okay, let's go to back to the simple syllabus. All right, so the spot check will be worth 3 points, and then the homework is worth 7 points. For the spot check, I'm not looking to see if any of them are correct or not. I'm just looking to see did you finish at least 75%? When you turn in the homework one, then specific problems will be graded for correctness. Okay. And test taking. The exams listed on the schedule will be during a class day. They'll take up a class time. Okay? Soon after the exam has started, I will send a message in Discord to some randomly chosen students, state that we will individually connect via Zoom for perhaps 10 minutes during the exam. During a Zoom session, I will ask the student to do their problem and explain their work. And if the student cannot do the problem, I may ask for more problems to be done. Okay, so if you don't already have Zoom downloaded on your computer, please do so that you're ready for this as part of the testing procedures. The tests will be timed. You'll have, the full class time, 12:30 to 2:15, to do an exam. But you may be interrupted for about 10 minutes or so while you're explaining a problem or two to myself. Okay. And all right, so let's go to modules. So in their Canvas page, well, actually, let me go to the home page and do the student view. Where does it show? Oh, I'm not seeing student view. So let's go back to modules. And in Module 0, Getting Started, the last entry is our schedule. And it shows what we're doing every day throughout the semester. So some students like to, if you have a printer, open this file up, print it out. And the same thing with the assignment list. And then you know what's going on every day and what's homework is going to be there. But if you scroll down further, you'll see like 3.1. We're doing that. If I click on spot check of 3.1, it tells you what problems are in the assignment. And just for the first few spot check, it explains what spot checks are all about. And then if this was the student view, you'd see a button over here to the right which was submit homework. And you click on that to submit your homework. What I'm going to recommend, highly recommend, is if you're taking pictures with your phone to submit, then get a scanning app. And it'll save you tons of time, and I'll get a much, much better, easier to work with image as well. And if you had 7 pages of homework, you don't have to send me 7 different pictures. It'll concatenate them all into one document, and then you'll just send one. So scanning app, I use a scanning app called Fast Scanner, and it's free. And I've been very satisfied with it. And I put it in batch mode if I'm scanning a number of pages, and it puts it into one document. Also, you might want to consider getting the Canvas app for your phone. That saves you a step that you don't have to transfer any images from your phone to a computer. You can just upload it directly from your phone. Alright, so let's go into Discord again, and let me show you the Discord groups. So look on the far left where I'm kind of scrolling up. There's group 1 through group 6. Alright, I'm going to show you what group you are in, and then I'm going to have you click on that group number. Before I do that, let me just show you what it looks like. So if I click on, let's say, group 4, now I'm out of the main chat channel. Okay, and when I type in here, only my group 4 members will be able to see and will be able to communicate with each other. And I can click back on the text general channel, and then I see the bit general text. And you'll be going back and forth between these two text channels throughout class. You want to be talking with each other during class while I'm lecturing. You want to, if you get confused on something, you might say that in your class, in your text channel. If I'm going too fast, you might do that with each other, and then if people are agreeing, then I want to be notified of that kind of stuff. Also, what you're going to be doing as soon as you find out what group you are in, you're going to come over here to the group channels, and you're going to mute all the channels except the one group that you are in. Let me show you how to do that. If I'm at group 1, I right click on it, and right click on this, and then go to mute channel, and then go to the bottom until I turn it back on. And so what will happen is you're going to get notified. Yes.
A suggestion also might be adding roles, so then you can only see certain channels. So for instance, there would be a group 1 role, and that would give you the permissions to only see the group 1 chat.
You know
and
what?
So on.
What's your name?
My name is Landon Roser, and I've used Discord for a while.
Okay, great. Landon, I don't know Discord that well. I just know the basics. I kind of was thrown into this at the last minute. So if you could hang after class and talk to me
I'd love to.
about this stuff, that'd be great. Okay. So what will happen is you'll get notified then when somebody in your group is sending it, putting something in the chat channel, but you don't want to be notified when somebody in any group does that. You'll get too many notifications. All right. So as soon as you find out what group you're in, I want you to click on your group number and type hi, just, and they'll see your username, and so they'll know who's there. And then mute all the other groups except yours. So here's a list of all the students in this class and what group you're in. So like this first group over here on the left is group 1. And notice there's a group leader and there's a backup with each group. I'll explain that in just a little bit. So take note of what group you're in. Okay, and then come over and say hi, click on your group, say hi, and then mute all the other groups that you are not in. And I'll just pop in here.
Actually, the screen share is kind of acting up for me. Which one is David Salazar Reyes in? Just for now.
Okay, you are in group 6.
Thank you so much for that.
You bet. And you're actually the group leader in group 6. And each group has 5 or usually 4, but sometimes 5 people in the group.
What group am I in?
What's your name?
Francis
Francis, and your last name?
Velasquez.
B-O? Okay. Let me put you in group 1. Did you just register into this class a little bit late?
Yeah, cause I couldn't know how to like navigate through all this, and I
Okay.
had a like pretty hard time trying to get into as well.
No problem. All right. Let me put you into group 1, and spell your last name, please. Francis, can you spell your last name?
Velasquez.
And Francis, Francis.
CIN.
CIS. Okay.
Yes.
Francis Velasquez. Great. You're in group 1.
Oh, I
What group
click
am
on
I
it.
in?
Who else doesn't have a group?
Anais Silva Martinez. No, I just don't know which group I'm in.
Okay. Maybe you registered late, a little late too. Let me put you.
Group 6.
There you are. Anais Silva Martinez. Yes, you're in group 6.
Okay, thank you.
Hold it. Francis Velasquez, you are in group 6 as well.
6.
Yes, you're in group 6. Sorry. I just saw you.
Or
So, Francis, can you see my screen?
no.
No. Okay. So, anybody else who also cannot see my screen, under voice channels on the far left, you'll see general, and then you'll see my name, Robert Shankin. Click on my name, and then join the screen share. And then you'll be able to see my screen. So anybody else who's having any difficulty seeing my screen or anything like this? Okay. All right. So, all right. Now let me explain the group leaders, and let me put the group back up here. Group leaders. You've got a couple important tasks. One task is, at the beginning of class each day, you're going to, in the general text channel, you're going to write a little message saying present, and then state who is all here in your group. And you only need to give me first names. Say Julie, Valerie, so on. You know, give me the people who are here that day. And so everybody, each day that you come into class in Discord, first thing you need to do is pop into your group and just say hi. So that your group leader, when he reports who is here, can give me an accurate, and that'll really speed up me taking roll each day. Okay, so group leaders, you can see who you are. If you will do that right now, observe who's here, go into the general text channel and write present, and then state who is here in your group. And then another important role for group leaders is there's going to be a spokesman for the day for each group. And what it's going to do is it's going to rotate in alphabetical order by first name. So look in your group, and if you have, an Alicia in your group, starts with an A, that probably is the person who's going to go first. And they'll be the group spokesman for the group today. And then if there's somebody with a last name or first name that starts with a B, like Brian, they will probably be the spokesman tomorrow. And you're going to rotate who the group spokesman is each day, alphabetical order by first name. But your job as a group leader is to remind everybody, because people will forget. Was I the spokesman yesterday? Who's the spokesman today? Everybody's going to forget except the group leader. Group leader is going to keep track, and the beginning of class each day is going to say, so-and-so is the group spokesman today. That's an important job you have every day. Also, if you notice that I'm screwing up during class, which I'm really good at doing, I can, when I say one number and write down another, often I confuse myself, and I'll tend to make little tiny errors quite a bit. And when things that I do wind up confusing people or need correction, I'll rely on group leaders. And if a group leader notices like 2 or 3 more than, if at least one person and at least 2 people agree, or you agree with somebody who said, Robert's going too fast, or I'm confused, or something like this, then I want the group leader to interrupt me and say, hey, Robert, we got feedback here that students are confused on this. And then I'll take that into account and change the way I'm teaching. And of course, anybody can interrupt me, anybody that notices I'm making a mistake. But if you don't feel like you want to interrupt, you can just put that into your chat, and then the group leader will be responsible for stating that. All right. The backup is, if the group leader is sick one day, then the backup takes on that role of the group leader. And at the 1/4, when we're 1/4 away through the semester, I'm going to switch roles between the group leader and the backup. And then at the halfway point in the semester, the other 2 people, most groups have 4 people, the other 2 people will become group leader and backup. And then at the 3/4 point in the semester, they'll switch roles. So everybody's going to have a time when they are playing the role of group leader. Any questions on this? We have also today, you're going to get your first assignment, 3.1, and there's going to be a group task that I'm going to assign you. There's going to be one problem in particular that's a very special problem in the assignment that I want you to check as a group. So you'll have to get together outside of class, not physically, but remotely, and you could get together on Discord or however you decide to do it, and check that one problem, make sure that you're all understanding it and that you're agreeing with your answers on that one problem. And we'll do that for the first 4 times that we meet, so the groups can get a chance to work together outside of class a little bit. All right, I think that's the basic stuff that I wanted to go over. Are there any questions? Yes. Question? All right. I wanted to also point out in modules that every student is entitled to get Microsoft Office for free. And you can see it right here in the modules, free Office 365. All right. As part of the Microsoft Office package, you get the software called OneNote, and we'll be using it every day. And this is what OneNote looks like. Here's my OneNote. And I put this information in the first announcement, and there's a link in that announcement to when you have downloaded Microsoft Office and you have the OneNote open, you can then click on that link and it'll allow you to see all of our lectures. All the lecture notes will be totally available to you. And I'm going to be writing on this screen, and then all that is totally there. And so when you are taking notes during class, it's one of the contradictions and difficulties that students run into typically in a math class is, what if I'm struggling to understand something? And then I have a choice. I can either write down what the teacher wrote down on the board or try to figure out what it means. And oftentimes students are stuck and they have to choose, oh, I'm going to write it down and try to figure it out later because the instructor's about to erase the board. Or in this case, I'm about to scroll down to the next page. Well, in this class, you can always make that choice of, hey, I'm going to commit to understanding it. And if I get a little behind in my notes, it's okay. I can always go back in OneNote and look at the notes later on and then add it back to my personal notes. And also, I recommend this, that you at least try this out once, is get the OneNotes and before class starts, open up your own version of OneNote. And that way, when I'm teaching and if I scroll down into something but you really needed to see what I just scrolled away from, what was that? You can scroll in your own version of OneNote and look at whatever you want. So you can have that open simultaneously. There'll be a little bit of a lag. If I write something in mine, it might take 30 seconds or so for it to show up in your version of OneNotes. But it's pretty darn useful. All right, so we are halfway through class today. And basically, this is the pattern we'll follow each time. At about 1:15, we'll be taking a 15-minute break. So we're going to start again. At 1:29 p.m. All right, so we will take a 15-minute break right now. At 1:29 sharp, we will start. Before I take my break, is there anybody who needs to talk to me about anything? Also, is there anybody who does not have a microphone? And to indicate you don't have a microphone, you won't be able to talk it, you could type it into the main text channel. Alright, so if I don't get anything there, I get to assume everybody has a microphone. Okay, and I'll take my break as well. I'll see you all at 1:29. Hi, is this Abigail? Yeah, this is Robert Shankin. So, you've been unable to join the live stream?
I was just able to. I was struggling because it wouldn't let me go to the live stream, but it somehow just let me.
Oh, good. So, are you all set now then?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, glad you're taken care of. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.
top left. See where it says friends?
Yeah.
There you go. Click
On
it.
friends.
Pending.
Pending. Oh, that's what it is. It's they're asking to be my friend.
Click the check mark on Abigail.
And this one, don't do anything? Oh, I guess that's it. Okay. All right. Hey, thanks. Thank you. All right, let's get started again. And it's a question from Julie. How do you get to that screen on OneNote? Or do I have to create my own OneNote? You don't have to create your own. Once you have Microsoft Office OneNote installed on your computer, you go to that link that I provided and you enter that, and then boom, it takes you to what will come up will be this thing in OneNote for you. Julie, is that clear? Did I answer your question? All right, and let's get started with 3.1. And we will start each day with a practice quiz, except today I'm going to skip over the practice quiz because we used up a lot of time in this. I'll come back to the practice quiz today as time permits, and I'll explain what practice quizzes are about then as well. Alright, let's start with, let me make sure I'm unmuted. Alright, so 3.1, functions and function notation. A relation in math is a very specific thing, but it's just a relationship between an input variable and an output variable. A function is exactly the same definition. It's a relationship between an input variable and an output variable, where each input has exactly one output. All right. So, an example is the post office. X will represent the weight of a package in pounds, and Y is the cost of mailing the package in dollars. So, now this is a relation, because every relationship between a variable X and a variable Y is called a relation. But only some relations are functions. You have to look at this clause at the end, where each input is exactly one output. Does the following represent a function? And then look carefully at the definition to help you figure that out. So, there's the table of values, there's the definition, and you're to figure out whether this is a function or not. And what I want you to do is just ponder it for a minute, silently on your own. Think about whether this is a function or not. I'll give you a little bit of time to think it over. Now, click on your group chat channel and enter in what you think. Yes, it's a function, or no, it's not a function. And if you're really lost and you have no idea, I still need you to enter in something in your group chat. And you can say, I'm lost, I have no idea. That's fine. Okay. But if when I'm asking for this input you're not entering anything, then you may be getting marked as effectively absent for the day. So you need to participate with each one of these things. Okay. So let me give you a little time to talk it over as your group, and also the group leader should have stated, and if you haven't done it already, do so now very quickly. Who is the group spokesman in your group for today? And Abigail Rios, you are actually the group leader in group 5. I know you had a little bit of trouble getting into the live feed today. So for today, Cesar Rodriguez, you're the backup. Let's have you be the group leader for group 5 today. And you let people know, let the spokesman know who they are today. All right, so group 2, what do you have for this? And now you can state your own answer, or even preferred is if you state, these were the answers in my group. Most of the people said this, or 3 people said this, 1 people said this, or whatever. So group 2, what do you got for this? Is this a function or not? Okay, and whenever I call on a group, you're always able to say pass. You can just say, oh, we pass, we don't know what the answer is. Okay, and group 2, let me check in on you. Are you guys active? Who is the spokesman in group 2? And anybody can go ahead and speak up if you haven't designated that yet.
I put it in the general. I didn't know we were supposed to talk.
Yes, we are. What do you have?
We all said it was a function because all the variables all the values had different.
So you say yes, it is a function.
Mhm.
All right. So your group is saying yes, it is a function. And let me point out something right here. Is there anybody who thinks that this is a reason why it might not be a function? Over here. And you can just chime in, anybody who thinks, hey, maybe this isn't a function, because look at this. Alright. So, this would raise a flag to me. If I was first learning this, my attention would be drawn, the output 6 occurs twice. Where each input has exactly one output, I might think this might not be a function. But yes, it's still a function. Yes, it's a function. You are correct. And also, when you speak in this class, I'm going to ask you, because we're not going to see images of you, if you would identify who you are, just say, hey, this is Chris, and then, I would appreciate that. If you don't remember that, it's not a big deal, but I'll remind you lots of times. How do we know that this really meets this condition? Each input has exactly one output. Well, how many outputs does the input 1 have? One output. How many outputs does the input 2 have? One output. How many outputs does the input 3 have? Even though that's the same number, each input has exactly one output. So yes, it is a function. Okay, now, next it says modify the table so that it changes from a function to not a function. Now, we already know that this part is false. So we know it is a function. Change it so from a function to not a function. So I'm going to give you a moment to think about how you would do that. Don't type it into your group chat quite yet. Give everybody a chance to process this individually. And then at my cue, type it into your group chat. What you did to this table so that it's now not a function. Okay, type it into your group chat. I'll give you a moment to process that. Group 4, what do you have for this? So again, you could always say pass if you want. To group 4, you check in, see if you're active group. Alright, still figuring out? Alright. Go ahead and somebody put on their microphone, hopefully the spokesman for the day. And you can just say, we need more time, or we pass.
Yeah, give us another minute.
Okay, let me give you a little more time. Okay, go ahead and either pass or give us some kind of guess, and it can be wild. Any kind of guess is great, or you can just say pass, any of those. So group 4, what do you got?
If one of the numbers in the x repeats, it wouldn't be a function, right?
Very good. So which one did you repeat?
I don't know. I just know that.
Okay, that's cool. So let's just cross out this 2 and make it a 1 again. All right, so then, now we see that the input of 1 has 2 different outputs. It violates each input, where each input has exactly 1 output. This is now violated. One input has 2 different outputs. So if you're looking at a table to try to tell if it's a function, we really didn't have to look at the output column. The outputs can be whatever they want. The input column, to be not a function, you'd have had to have the same input occur more than once. And then when it has 2 different outputs, then it's no longer a function. All right, now why is this a big deal? And why do we separate all of math into functions, all math relationships into either functions or not functions? Well, we separate them like that because it turns out that if it's a function, it's generally way more useful to us. We spend most of our energy and time looking at functions and not at things that are not functions. Let me tell you how your cell phone would work if it wasn't a function. When you press 3 on your keyboard, on your function, on your phone, you would sometimes get a 3 to show up, but sometimes a 4 would show up. One input would give you more than one output. We want the input 3 to always give you the output of a 3 showing up. And when we lose it being a function, we lose the element of predictability. We want something that works the same every time we use it. And if it doesn't, we don't generally find them useful. If our car steering wheel was not a function, then when you turn the wheel to the right, the wheels would also make you turn the car to the right. But every now and then it would turn the wheels to the left when you turn the steering wheel to the right. And then we would find that not very useful for us. Almost every single man-made device, in order to be useful to us, is going to be a function. One input always gives us the same output. And it might feel like this problem over here, 2 outputs being the same, is some kind of a problem, just like 2 inputs being the same is a problem. But this is not. This is not a problem. This occurs very often in relationships like this. When you go to the post office, it's indeed the case that they'll have, might be in ounces, but anything between this weight and this weight would cost you the same price. And then, we jump up to a different weight, costing you a different price. So 2 different inputs can have the same output, but one input leading to 2 different outputs is a huge problem for us. And we don't generally find them useful. All right. Now, also, a constant never changes. A variable gets to vary and play what-if games. So, state whether each of the following is a constant or a variable. So 1 through 4, number 1, gallons of gas I use in a month, put a C for constant or a V for variable. And what I want you to do is go into your group chat and you would type number 1 and then put either a V or a C, whether it's a constant or a variable, and then number 2 and so on. And what I want you to do is set that all up, but don't hit enter yet into the group chat. We want people to have time to process this individually. When I work in groups, I enjoy the dynamic of working in a group, but what I don't enjoy when I work in a group, if somebody is telling me an answer before I've even figured out what the question is asking, So I'm always going to give this processing time here. And so I'm going to ask you to type it in to your group chat what your answers for each of these are, but don't hit enter yet. Wait for my cue on that. Okay, go ahead and hit enter and look at the responses in the group. Okay, and also another thing in this class, what I appreciate most is a good wrong answer. When I always get the right answer, it's not often very revealing. When we kind of slowly work our way to a correct answer is when often the most instruction takes place and the most students really understand what's going on. So anything that pushes us in that right direction is a fabulous answer, but you can always, whenever you're asked on to respond to something, you can always just say pass. All right, group 1, what did you get for part 1? Gallons of gas use. Is that a variable or a constant?
So this is Julie speaking for group 1.
Great.
For the gallons of gas used in a month, we all put that it's a variable.
It's a variable because it varies. It changes from month to month. Okay, keep going.
And then for number of days in the week, we all put a constant.
Because it always stays 7. Never changes.
Mm-hmm. And then for my weight, we put variable because it can change.
That's right. Over time, it will change.
And then for the age of my grandfather when he died, two of us put constant. I put variable, but now I realize that I believe it would be a constant.
So you got added insight as we went along here. That's
Yes.
the kind of insight that is super important. A lot of things that seem a little fuzzy can get clearer as we go. How did you realize that it was a constant?
Because the age of death would remain the same, right?
That's right. He was 98 years old when he died, and 10 years from now, it was still 98 years old when he died. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. All right, great. So now we are going to go to create a function. So as an example, the input x is the miles I drove today. The output y is the gallons of gas I used today. Notice I didn't use anything that was really a constant that didn't change. And as this changes, the miles I drive, this changes the gallons of gas I used. They are both things that can vary, and as one changes, the other changes. Okay, so what I'm going to have you, each person do is create your own function. You're going to write an x, and don't make it be the same one. Make it something different. And then you're going to put y colon, and then you're going to, and what I want you to do is to type this into your text group channel, so just for your group, but don't hit enter yet. So, and everybody's going to come up with their own. Okay, go ahead and hit enter. Type this in and look at the other entries and kind of process it. See if you agree that those are actually functions. And you might get some new ideas. All right, and group 6. What's one function that seemed interesting to y'all? So, group spokesman for group 6.
Some people in our group use numbers.
Okay.
So they put X as 5, 10, 15, 20, and Y as 2, 4, 6, 8.
5, 10, 15, 20, 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay. So this could be a function. Now, how we mean this and how we mean this kind of depends on which one gets paired up with which. So to be kind of clear, we could say 5 is going to get paired up with the 2, and the 10 is going to get paired up with the 4, and so on. And the 15 is going to get paired up with the 6. And we could give an endless list like this. This is a way that you could specify a function. Okay, and what's your name?
Anais.
Anais. Okay, and any other one that you want to say? Or is that it?
That was it. Another person used numbers,
Okay.
but
All right, great. And let me call on one more group.
Robert,
Yes.
what were we doing? Because the thing kept cutting off, and I couldn't really hear anything, and my screen kept shutting down too.
Anybody else having issues with the connection?
That's with the screen shutting down. That's actually an issue that happens on mobile. I've seen it happen on iOS, but that's just from where I know it from.
All right. Anybody having that difficulty right now? And you can just enter it into the text as well if you're having. I mean, certain days we've had that as well. And also, I am recording this, and so there might come a day when it's a really bad connection, and it doesn't work for you. And if that's the case, you could stop doing the class and then watch the video afterwards, and then shoot me an email, tell me what happened, and so on. All right, and also the videos, feedback that I've gotten in the past is a lot of the students don't use the videos, except when at certain times it might be very valuable. Like they just got lost on a certain portion and a certain day, and then they find it very, very helpful to go back to the video and to go to that portion. All right, so actually with time factors, let's keep going from here. So let's go ways to represent functions. Come up with as many ways as you can to represent a function. I'm going to start this out with one way to represent a function is with a table. And you could make a table like this, x and y. This might represent a function. And if x is number of hours a bike is rented, and y might be the cost to rent the bike for that many hours. And if you rent a bike for 1, 2, 3 hours, it might cost $2, $4, $6. Maybe they charge $2 an hour or something like this. Here, these would be dollar signs, and these would be hours. Okay. And besides tables, what are other ways that a function might be represented? So, go to your group channel and type in a whole bunch of different ways that, any way that you can think of, how a function could be displayed or represented. Don't hit enter yet though, just need a little processing time as well. Okay, go ahead and hit enter. And then we can chat about that. Ways to represent functions. All right, group 5. Can you give me another way to represent a function? So, group 5, are you with us? All right, who's the spokesman for group 5? And could the group leader for the day be the backup for that? Yeah, if the spokesman isn't speaking, that's, again, one of the roles of a group leader is to be the backup.
We said we could graph it.
Graph. And who are you?
I'm Abigail.
Abigail. All right. So we could graph this thing. Whenever we graph it, we put the input always on the horizontal, the vertical, like this. And then when you go 1 over, it's 2 up. And 2 over, it's 4 up, and so on. And then we see that these kind of would connect in some kind of visual manner. Like this. All right. Do you have another way, Abigail?
We said we could write an equation.
Equation. Awesome. When we write it as an equation, we put the output letter first. And notice that the output letter is always twice as big as the input letter. Y equals 2x. Or in function notation, we might use f of x. F of x to replace the y. And do you have anything else, Abigail?
I think that's all we came up with.
Oh, that's an excellent, excellent start. And did anybody come up with anything else besides this? You can just pop in. Use your microphone.
In our group, in group 6, somebody said a ratio.
A ratio. So, what do you mean by a ratio? I'm not sure. Maybe you're not sure either, because it was just what somebody wrote. A ratio for
I guess maybe I don't know what they meant. Maybe like we did in the previous problem where they like plot points, like we did with the 5 and 2, 10 and 4. So plot point.
Yes. All right, and then ratios that'll wind up telling us slopes of lines and stuff. will be super important as well. Okay, I'm not going to write that down in here, but yes, that can be related to this. And let me put another one. It's called ordered pairs. And here we would say if the input's 1, the output's 2. If the input's 2, the output's 4, etc. Okay. Now, why we call them ordered pairs? Because their order is important. 2, 1 is not on this list, but only 1, 2 is on the list. So they're pairs of numbers in a specific order. Okay. And, all right. Now, the next thing is, how can you tell with each of these ways to represent functions when it is not a function? Well, let's go back to each one of these. How could I tell from a table if it's not a function? So number 1, table. How do I tell when it's not a function? We already had this before. Remember, way back here, we said, change this thing so it is no longer a function. And we had to make one of the inputs repeat itself. So, all you have to do on this, how can you tell? Some input must be repeated. And if you don't even have to bother looking at the output column, the second column. Just look at the first column, and to be not a function, some input has to be repeated. Second thing, on a graph, if it's not a function, how can you tell if all you have is a graph to look at? Alright, let me show you. Suppose this was a stock market curve. It's the price of a stock on certain days. So here's the day, and here's the price. And the stock was going up. And then later it goes down. This is a function. How can I make this graph so that it's not a function? What if it did this? You would never see a stock market curve looking like this. Why not? Because on a day 1, there's a specific price. It could be, $4 a share. Day 2, there's a specific price. It could be $5 a share. But day 3, there's 3 different closing prices of the stock. No, at the end of the day, it has one price. It can't have, one input can't have 3 different outputs. And this is called the vertical line test. It fails the vertical line test. Line test. And that each vertical line strike the graph only once. If a vertical line coming straight up from 3 hits the graph in more than one spot, whoop, then it's no longer a function. Even if you had something that only had one extra point in it, that's no longer a function. Because at this input, there's now two different outputs. One input, more than one output, not a function. Okay, and let's look at number 3. If it's an equation, how can you tell whether it's a function or not? That's beyond the scope of this course. There are ways to tell, but we're not going to get into that in this course. So, 3, not relevant. Well, to this course. And number 4, ordered pairs. How do we tell if it's not a function? It's the same way we tell for a table. Some input, so a first number must get repeated. So you don't have to focus on the second numbers. You can ignore the 2, 4, 6 and look at these first numbers. If they're all different, then you had a function. But if 2 of them are the same and they have different outputs, then it's not a function. Alright. That finishes up this lesson in 3.1, functions and function. Hold it. Let me look at my notes. There might be some more that I have here. There is a little bit more. Let's go to function notation. So this, how can you tell if it's a function? Let's go to function notation. Normally we have things like y equals 3x plus 2. But in function notation, we replace the y with f of x. And then we use that notation quite a bit. And I'm going to have you do this really quick. Find. I have to do these AA instead of A, B, C, and I have to put a pound sign before the numbers. Otherwise, whenever I change the spacing, it changes all my letters and numbers. All right, find f of 0. K f of k plus 1. All right, so let me give you a minute to use this f of x rule to figure out what these 3 values are. Find f of 0, f of k, and f of k plus 1. And then I'll show you what those are. 30 seconds more. Okay, f of 0 is, what this rule really means is f of anything is 3 times that thing plus 2. And 0 goes in this empty bracket and this empty bracket. 3 times 0 is 0, plus 2 is 2. K would go in here and in here, and I would get 3k plus 2. Now, what do these answers mean? The only thing that f of 0 equals 2 means is when the input is 0, the output is 2 for this particular function. And this one says when the input is k, the output is 3k plus 2. Now, part C, a really common student mistake is to do this. Throw in this extra plus 1 on the end. This is not right. What is right is you put k plus 1 over here and over here. It's what the rule means. Whatever f is, the input goes in here and here. So you're going to get 3 times k plus 1 plus 2, which is equal to 3k plus 3 plus 2, which is equal to 3k plus 5. So, f of k plus 1 is 3k plus 5. And all it means is when the input is k plus 1, the output will be 3k plus 5. So some of the homework will look like that as well. All right, we are out of time. The homework is this section 3.1. By Monday, you need to have the spot check for 3.1 uploaded, at least 75% of the problems completed. Also, to get together with your groups outside of class and check problem number 36. In 3.1. Okay, now you could decide to get together via Zoom, anything, Discord, however you could decide to want to get together, and make sure that everybody is understanding the answer and that you'll agree on your answer on number 36. And we will stop here. Are there any questions? Okay, so next time we meet, first thing is going to happen is you're going to pop into your group channel and say hi. Group leader is going to say who is the group spokesman for the day for the group, and then we'll text me and say who is present today. And it's been a pleasure meeting you all.
I have a question.
Yes.
Can we meet on the same link that we just got on now today to meet with our group, or we have to create a one?
You could come to Discord and then be working in here. And if you go to the voice channel, you can be talking to each other as well as typing in this central group thing, and that's fine. Or you can go to your group. If you go to your group, that's just a text channel, so you won't be able to hear each other if you're talking verbally. And what I can do is I can make in the voice channels, I'll create a new channel called study groups, and I'll make it a voice channel, and you could pop into that one. You click on study groups. If you clicked on it right now, it would pop you right out of this voice channel, and you would no longer be able to hear me. You can only be in one voice channel at a time, but when you're going in the study group, you might want to go there and then work together. All right, any other questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
This is Julie. So you had mentioned that there's a link for OneNote.
Yes.
I'm sorry if I missed it. I don't remember where you said to find it.
Okay, it's actually in two places. But if you go into the announcements in Canvas, go right to the bottom. It was the very first announcement I gave. It described setup things, and it's in there. It's also in the simple syllabus. I copied it into there as well. Okay. Anything else?
I have a question.
Yes.
I have a question about the
Yes.
spot check.
Yes, about spot checks?
Is it the same thing as the homework?
Yes, it's exactly the same thing. It's just so that you don't wait till the last minute to do the assignment. So 3.1 isn't actually due to be turned in for, a couple weeks. But next time that we meet, you have to have uploaded at least 75% of the 3.1 problems for the spot check.
Oh, I
Okay?
understand.
And then you'll probably get some added insights, and then you'll, for the final upload for 3.1, it'll probably be different than what you had uploaded in the spot check. But if it's not any different, then you don't even need to upload anything into the final version of 3.1. I'll just grade what was in the spot check.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Okay, Francis Velasquez, Cesar Rodriguez, you're in group 6, at least Francis is. I think Cesar Rodriguez is in group 5. Yeah, Cesar Rodriguez in group 5. Okay, I'm going to stop the recording.